There's a lot of things that I wish I knew when I started to build my personal brand. And in this segment, in this video, I want to give you 3 specific things that I knew when I started to build my brand, when I started to create video content, when I started to market my first product, which was my book called Be Extraordinary, Your Guide to Self-Mastery. And these strategies have helped me to get that book into the hands of over 16,000 people. It's allowed me to build my YouTube channel to over 5,000 subscribers. And I know that these 3 tips will work for you as well. So the first tip that I want to give you when it comes to building your personal brand is I want you to get very, very clear on your purpose. And when I say purpose, it's a word that's used heavily everywhere. It's a word that's very convoluted. It can mean a lot of different things. But for the sake of this, I want you to think of your purpose as what you have inside of you that you can use and that you want to use to impact the lives of other people. You can think of your purpose even as your personal mission statement. And when I first started my YouTube channel and building my personal brand and really putting myself out there on social media, marketing my products and all those things, even before I had a product, I wasn't really clear on what I wanted to help people with. I didn't know whether I wanted to help people with losing weight the same way that I was able to lose weight. I didn't know if I wanted to help people to earn more money or lose or eliminate the debts that they had in their life. But I realized I had to get very clear on what it is I wanted to help people with. And I didn't have a personal mission statement or a tagline. And it took some time, but now my tagline is I want to help as many people as possible to positively transform their life and make a 1% difference each and every day. Because as you know, I talk about it a lot. If you're able to improve 1% each day, then if you do the math, I used to think it was 365% over the course of a year, but I was wrong. I had like a mathematician friend correct me. And he says, Brandon, you've got to do 1% to the power of 365. And if you grow 1% every single day in anything, at the end of a year, you will be 37% better than you were. So how much better will you be after 5 years? How much better will you be after 10 years? This is where the concept of mastery comes from. You do something long enough, you become a master at that specific thing. I think the new stat is once you do something for 10,000 hours, you become a master. That generally takes people 10 years, but you could do it sooner. So what is your purpose? What is your personal mission? If you have a product or you have a service that you're already offering to your target audience, what is your personal mission behind that product? People are a lot more enticed by a personal mission statement than they are by a product itself. A product can mean a lot of different things based on the message that you put behind it. So what is your personal mission? Becoming very clear on that for me at the very beginning would have helped me, because after I did become clear on that, I had to edit my website. I had to edit all of my social media profiles to fit my new mission statement. If I had become clear of my mission at the beginning, I would have been able to avoid all of the editing and all of that wasted time. But listen, if you have to figure it out afterwards, that's no problem, right? This is never going to be perfect. You're going to have obstacles on this journey to building your brand, to sharing your message, to selling your products, whatever it is. There's going to be obstacles, but if you can avoid as many of those obstacles by learning from my mistakes, that's the best way to do it. Number 2, the second piece of advice that I wish I had when I was starting a personal brand was I wish that I had started to become an authority in my space sooner. And what I mean by that is nobody outside of my family and friends were watching my videos. And that's normal. You're going to post a video or a blog post or any kind of piece of content, and you're not going to have many people who are looking at that piece of content, engaging it, or watching the video. The point at the beginning is to start posting. And that is something that I didn't do. It took me a long time to actually start creating content because I was afraid of judgment. I was afraid of the criticism I would receive when I posted that piece of content. And I had to figure this out the hard way, because I remember the first ever event that I had scheduled. It was the first ever Be Better Bootcamp. It was an in-person event that was 45 minutes from me down in Albany, New York. And I rented out a room that could fit 200 people. I paid $500 for the room. I paid over $2,000 in Facebook advertising. I created this video content to market the event. I hired a professional videographer to help me to do so. And I got to the event and I expected over 100 people to be there. I was talking to my wife that day and I said, babe, I hope that I have enough room in this venue to hold the amount of people that are going to be at this event. And she's like, don't worry. I think you're going to be fine. There should be enough tables. You should have enough pens and paper and everything else that I brought for materials for them. And I'll never forget this day because it was one of the most painful experiences in my business and personal brand journey so far. I get there and it's 20 minutes before the event. Not one person's there. I'm like, okay, maybe everyone's just going to get here at the time of the event. 10 minutes before the event, not one person's there. 5 minutes before the event, my mom gets there, my sister gets there, my brother-in-law gets there, their friends get there, 4 of my family members are there, okay? And at the time of the event, and the couple strolled in late, I had 6 total people show up to my first ever Be Better Bootcamp. By the way, this was a free event. It didn't cost a dime. But I spent over $2,000, over $2,500 actually in marketing this event. And I still did the event. And I remember I went up to my mom, I went up to my dad and I said, guys, no one can know that you're my family. Everyone has to think that you are a complete stranger because this is embarrassing that no one showed up yet. And they said, honey, don't worry about it. We won't tell anybody. You're going to be great. You're going to do a good job. Everything that your parents would tell you. And I did the boot camp. It was a 2-hour event. It went really well. I got some great pictures from it that I did use in my branding, that I did make posts from after the fact. So I got something out of the event. But let me tell you, the number one thing that I got from this event was a lesson. No amount of advertising will help you if you don't start building your brand now. Start positioning yourself as an authority in the space that you're in. If you're in the fitness space, start building yourself and branding yourself as the authority in that space. Start posting pictures of yourself. Start sharing posts of your journey. Create a video talking about your story, talking about who you specifically help, why you help those specific people. Start a podcast on fitness. I'm friends with Allison Jackson, who's the host of the Fit to Lead podcast, and she's a fitness coach who has a podcast where she has other guests come on, other people in the leadership space and the fitness space to share their stories. Do something to position yourself as an authority. You know, I think the stat is only like 4% of all of the active users on LinkedIn alone are active. Only 3 to 4% of people on LinkedIn are actually active. And there's millions, maybe not millions, but there's thousands and thousands of YouTube channels of people who don't even post content, yet they're a coach, they're a business owner. Listen, if you're a business owner or a coach or a consultant and you're not posting content to position yourself as the authority, no one is going to know you, no one's going to like you, and no one's going to trust you. The reality is you need to share results, your own results from other people. You have to get your message to the marketplace. You have to begin creating content. And if you're talking to me, I'm biased. I'm going to recommend you create video content. And at this point, I've created systems where I have 3 live shows a week that create all of the content that I need for all the different platforms. And don't worry, that is a strategy that I'll talk about in future videos and broadcasts. So again, be sure to subscribe to this show, like this show, share this show with one friend if you found any value from it so far. So tip number 2 is position yourself as the authority in the space that you're in. And finally, tip number 3 is one that so many people need to hear, especially other coaches that I know specifically, and I have a couple people in mind. There are so many people I know that will simply read book after book after book. They will go to seminar after seminar after seminar. They will learn and learn some more. And just in case they didn't learn enough, they're going to learn even more after that. These are people who simply consume content, but they don't execute on that content. Tip number 3 that I would give to the younger version of myself when I was building my coaching business and personal brand is create more than you consume. But not even create more than you consume, but execute on the information that you do consume. If you're watching a video on how to build your business or start your coaching practice or whatever you're doing to share your message and to impact others, execute based on what you learned in that video. You know, at the very beginning, I watched and consumed all the content, and I even started to sound like the people who shared the content because I was watching so much of their videos, reading so many of their posts and their books, but I didn't really execute on it. Things only changed for me when I found one or two people to follow in this space, and I started to watch a video, execute, read a book, execute. Even if you only read one book this year, but you execute on everything that that book recommends to you, that's how you build a business. That's how you start to create income with your brand. That's how you start to create the lifestyle that you want. Every 2 years, I believe the statistic is, I think this is Moore's Law. You can look it up. It's called Moore's Law. Every 2 to 3 years, the amount of information in the world doubles. And it's only going to be going faster and faster and faster. There is an addiction to information in today's world. And your goal, and by the way, you're taking in information right now. So your goal after you watch this video, after you listen to this broadcast, is to take one of these tips that you just heard, just one. Don't go crazy. You can if you want, but take one of these tips and apply it to your business. Apply it to your brand. My goal and my mission is to help you get your message to as many people as possible, because in a sense, that's me helping those people too. But that serves no use if you leave this video and you don't do something with the information that you learned. Information without execution is the drain on your life. It's the drain on your time. And it can give you a false sense of progress if you simply learn. You'll be like a walking encyclopedia, a walking dictionary. We all know that person who went to school for 40 years, right? It's an exaggeration, obviously, but they went to school, they got all the letters after their name, but they're not doing anything with all the knowledge that they have. You don't want to be that person. So when you learn something, start using it and execute. Tip number 3 is start creating more than you're consuming. Listen, you've got a message and a service and a product that's going to do good for other people. And in future videos and broadcasts, I'm going to talk to you about how you can make that offer even better for those people. I'm going to talk to you about how you can share that offer and get it seen by many more people. But you can't just keep learning. You can't just keep standing still. You can't just keep waiting. You can't just keep saying, I'm afraid to post a video, Brandon. I'm afraid to put my face on social media. You got to do it. We were all afraid at the beginning. You have to get started. Because if you don't get started now, when will you? The best time to get started was 5 years ago. The second best time is now. So seize the moment. Carpe diem. I don't think I've ever said that on the show. And take this information and use it to share your impactful message, to build your brand, to build your business, and create the life of your dreams, but also to transform the life of the people that you are reaching with your message, your services, and your product. That's my 3rd tip. I know these 3 tips will serve you well. Be sure to follow, like, subscribe to this channel so that you can see all the new videos that we post, all the new broadcasts that we air, so you don't miss any tips to build your brand and build your business with the power of video and any other form of content that I'm going to be sharing with you, myself, or with the guests that I bring on this show.